Ladies and gentlemen, over the last time, many industrial parks in provinces cities like Bac Giang, Bắc Ninh, and Da Nang have recorded many COVID-19 cases. According to medical experts, the risk of disease spread and outbreak in industrial zones is very large because these are the places where workers gather in large numbers and travel by public transport and share accommodation, etc. Apart from the functional forces of epidemic prevention and control, the management boards of industrial parks and enterprises need to activate the highest level of epidemic prevention and control to always actively respond to the epidemic and ensure economic development. Ninh is one of the localities with many industrial parks. These industrial parks are all large-scale with a large number of workers, such as Phước Đông Industrial Park, Linh Trung Industrial Park, Tràng Bàng Industrial Park, and Thanh Hân Công Industrial Park, Vietnam Mobile Joint Stock Company, etc. Therefore, the risk of disease outbreaks in industrial parks and companies is very high. In fact, the risk of infection in the community, especially in industrial zones, has already existed. It will be very difficult to deal with if there's an infection in industrial park or among the workers, because if the disease occurs in industrial zone, it will cause a chain reaction, and the infection will spread very quickly, and Bac Giang is facing this issue. That way, we can imagine the level of danger and complexity in the current epidemic. Currently, in addition to the community infection issue, the Provincial Steering Committee for Disease Prevention and Control is also paying great attention to infection in industrial zones. Following the direction of the National Steering Committee on Epidemic Prevention and Control in Industrial Zones, TayNinhTV has immediately taken urgent solutions. The province has urged functional agencies and localities to regularly coordinate in checking and assessing the safety of COVID-19 epidemic prevention and control in industrial parks, factories, and enterprises. Companies and enterprises may be required to stop operation for rectification until they are assessed safe enough to resume operations. The province will also strengthen inspection of observing regulations on disease prevention and control at production facilities and industrial parks in the areas, asking workers to make daily medical declarations and promote electronic medical declaration. Industrial park managers and business leaders are responsible for the implementation of epidemic prevention and control under their management. Promptly correct and fix the shortcomings. Do not allow people without medical declaration to work and strictly handle violations. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to issuing directives and guidelines on epidemic prevention and control in industrial parks, factories, and enterprises with a high risk of infection from the working environment, the Ninh province has also stepped up supervision and inspection of the actual implementation of epidemic prevention and control in industrial parks in the province. Through reports and actual checks, most businesses in industrial parks have paid more attention to the prevention and control of the COVID-19 pandemic, especially in this complicated period. The inspected units have established a steering committee for epidemic prevention and control on the spot. They have developed epidemic prevention procedures, regularly communicated to businesses in industrial zones and employees of companies the directions and instructions of the Ministry of Health, the Provincial Steering Committee for Disease Prevention and Control. Deploying disease prevention and control measures, such as asking employees to implement 5K measures in Vietnamese when working, making medical declarations, checking body temperature, and providing hand sanitizer for customers coming in and out to companies and factories. In the transportation of employees, no more than 50% of employees are allowed to sit on a bus. arranging employees to work in rotational schedule, to work remotely, and to limit visits to the office, arrange mealtime for workers, and keep a safe distance. The board of directors of each company must continue to be proactive, improve responsibilities, not be negligent or let down your guard against the epidemic. In order for industrial park to prevent the epidemic well, each enterprise must perform well, actively, and take responsibility first. And each business wants to be good, the workers must voluntarily comply with disease prevention and control, especially 5K principle. So, in addition to directing solutions, it's necessary to regularly check and monitor, remind, and even handle businesses that are negligent in disease prevention and control, and there will be no distinction between enterprises with a large or a small number of employees. Industrial parks need to continue to set anti-epidemic targets as a top priority. In particular, it's necessary to ensure the provision of medical protective equipment for workers, strengthening propaganda for employees about the implementation of epidemic prevention and control measures to protect the health of themselves and the community. I would like to ask all of you to continue to review the options that you have proposed to be close to reality. We need to have a concrete solution and coordination mechanism in case an infection is detected in a certain unit, group, or group of workers, so that we know how to respond to promptly detected, localize, and then coordinate to stamp out the epidemic. The best prevention is still medical declaration. This is a proactive measure for us to grab information from workers. The management board must be responsible for asking businesses to propagate to their workers so that they can understand, raise awareness, and do this well. It's necessary to require business owners to purchase medical equipment, masks, and disinfectants to provide workers right at the workplace. The audience, the pandemic is still very complicated. Many strains of the virus have been found to be more infectious and dangerous. So every worker needs to strictly implement the 5K measures in Vietnamese, especially wearing a mask when coming to work. In particular, it's necessary for workers to immediately notify the company authorities in case of unusual symptoms to ensure the safety of themselves, their company, and the community. Now it's time to say goodbye to the program Prevention and Control of COVID-19, produced by TâyNinhTV Radio and television station. See you in the next program. Bye bye.